Heavenly Delusion, two words with two contradicting connotations that instantly grabbed my attention when I saw them. Heavenly Delusion had my eyes set on it since the day it was released, and I could not wait to binge it all in one sitting. After marathoning the show, I can say one thing with absolute certainty. This show is fucking awesome. Heavenly Delusion is a narrative gem and a visual masterpiece, with one of the highest production values of any show that has come out in 2023. I swear, any show I watch after this one is just gonna look like X-Arm in comparison. Every frame of every second was carefully crafted with zero compromises put in place. The creators working on this project really just wanted to test their abilities and make the best looking show that they could possibly make, and that fact is crystal clear to all viewers. Tengoku Daimakyo's animation is akin to that of Chainsaw Man or Mushoku Tensei, putting effort into the animation of details in every scene, not just the bombastic fight scenes or really important moments. This accomplishes a few things. One, it delivers a completely different feeling when watching a show, a different vibe you could say, one that is of high quality and polish that is rare to find in a lot of mass-produced anime. 2. High quality animation induces realism, making every event carry that much more weight. The immersion you feel while watching the show can be largely attributed to its high level of animation and compositing. Big word, I know, we'll get to that in a second. One of the things that Heavenly Delusion excels at is breaking the limits of each character's character model. What I mean by that is exaggerated movements, smearing, and sometimes the complete deformation of a character's face or body adds so much entertainment value to each scene. And this is why I love the medium of animation so much. This type of stuff can only be done in anime, and a live action show could never replicate this type of feeling. The animators break their character models, sometimes to exaggerate movements and comedic scenes, while other times being used to embellish action sequences. For this scene, Maru's character model is growing and shrinking in size, as well as having excessive smearing. He becomes a completely different art style with dots for eyes, more simplistic shading, and a less detailed appearance that suits the purpose of the scene. The animators are playing with the boundaries of their character models and doing whatever the fuck they want, like a bunch of 5-year-olds with Play-Doh, and it's absolutely great. Remember that thing I said earlier? High level of animation and compositing. Yes, now just what is compositing? Alright, hear me out. There's this really popular YouTube Shorts trend, yes I know, but I swear this is a good analogy, where people spray paint their walls with a bunch of different molds, and in the end, they have a completely seamless image that looks like it was printed onto the wall. The act of combining multiple layers into one cohesive image like this is what we call compositing. Compositors will basically do the exact same thing as what these Shorts creators are doing, but instead with background layers, foreground models, and multiple shades of lighting and color correction to give an anime a more detailed and pristine look. Their work is crucial to an anime's visual experience, and they absolutely nailed it for Heavenly Delusion. Because of the compositing, this show exudes a feeling of polish. Realistic lighting effects are used, such as the bloom from the lights in this scene, which reflect and bounce off the floor and ceiling of this room so realistically. The colors, lighting, reflections, and outlines of every scene feel so uncannily true to life that it actually accentuates the horror elements of the show. For example, in this scene, where Maru and Kiriko were dispatched to kill man-eaters in the parking garage, the detailed drawings of their surroundings working in tandem with the realistic visual elements added in by a compositor generate such an eerie atmosphere that really keeps you on the edge of your seat. Adding on realistic sound design was the cherry on top for the anxiety-inducing feeling that they were trying to achieve. Then we analyze the show purely based on its action, and my God, is it beautiful. One thing I stress a lot about in my videos is the ability to animate detailed character models without sacrificing the fluidity of their motion. Our first example here uses a lot of dynamic camera action to fully encapsulate the setting and space in which the fight is taking place. The fighting itself actually has little to no smearing, which gives a more choreography-focused approach to the fight. Their actions are much more realistic compared to the average anime fight, which suits the type of fight this is, a street brawl. This type of fight animation is very similar to that of Vivi Florai I's song. The lack of smearing makes every action taken by the characters very easy to interpret. Back to what I was saying about animating detailed character models. This scene does that absurdly well. Everyone's clothing has every shadow and fold in the fabric included, despite making it 10 times harder to animate. Redrawing the same shadow or detail over and over again is tedious work, so I always have to commend the animators when they go the extra mile to include set details. What makes this scene especially impressive is despite the fact that Maru is drawn with great detail, the animators are still able to capture the bounce and finesse that he so clearly exhibits in this altercation. Another example of action animation I'd like to use is this scene right here. One thing which I thought was pretty neat is before the action, during the scary section of the scene meant to build anticipation, the scene is in cinematic widescreen, but as soon as the action starts, it pulls back into 16:9 aspect ratio and a grotesque yet beautifully drawn man-eater is in view. The only thing we see of its whip-like weapon is its smeared after image, showcasing its speed perfectly. The monster disappears, then accelerates into frame as the camera portrays Kiriko's point of view. Its impact on the poor, unsuspecting car is beautiful. The impact frame actually uses tons of blur, but it works amazingly here. It's as if our eyes were clouded by the bright light for a split second. And then, a moment of anticipation is built in slow motion here. Once again, the blurring used in this scene is perfect. Not too much where it's detracting from the artist's work, but still making sure to tie back to that idea of realism. I mean, just a gorgeous impact frame follows. Our main characters catch a little break and it's right back to the action, but this time with a different animation style. The characters are much less detailed, but their actions become twice as fluid. As I said before, Heavenly Delusion is so versatile, being able to switch animation styles at the flick of a switch, whether it's a heavily realistic choreograph-based action sequence or a Sakuga fest of ridiculous action. Heavenly Delusion has it all. It's like they're wielding 8 different weapons at a time, and the viewer is just being assaulted with eyegasms. While these are the visual characteristics of Heavenly Delusion that stood out to me the most, the show still excels in every other department of its presentation. Beautiful background art, breathtaking cinematography, a great soundtrack, and much more contribute to the final product. Pair that with a gripping post-apocalyptic mystery, and you, my friend, have one of the best shows that has come out in 2023.